Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, March 25, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have numerous troughs plaguing the basin. We can see that we also have the ridges of high pressure, one situated across the eastern portion of the United States and another one across the northern section of North Atlantic that are responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region, not to mention those easterly trade winds across the Gulf of Mexico. We can also see that we have a cold front stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down to portions of Hispaniola and has induced a trough across the waters to the east of that cold front and another trough across portions of Hispaniola, Jamaica and Central America. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that cold front attached to that air flow pressure spinning away right there off the east coast of the United States. We can also see those low level clouds pushing from east to west in that easterly flow of winds brought about by those ridges of high pressure. And we can see the clouds associated with the cold front and the troughs still affecting the waters of the southwestern Atlantic, including sections of the Leeward Islands, sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. First of all, it was stated that we would have received some rainfall on Sunday night across sections of Jamaica, and we indeed had some confirmation from some of our commenters on our Instagram page. Divine underscore Empress 86 raining in Kingston. Camellia Fashion stating raining in Ocho Rios. Panton Giovanni stating Spanish Town light rainfall. And it was also stated that we would have received some afternoon showers across sections of central and eastern Jamaica on Monday. And just for reference, we know that when we're talking about central Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. And what ended up happening? We saw that the visible satellite images were posted in the late afternoon hours on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, or TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as there are other posts that are made there that are not made here on our YouTube page. So we saw on the visible satellite imagery some clouds bring some overcast skies and isolated showers across sections of some central and eastern parishes, incorporating some western parishes as well, and we definitely had some isolated shower activity within those clouds. We can see it even better on the latest visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down. More of the clouds were more confined to sections of northern Jamaica, but we definitely had those clouds building across sections of the island, and we had some one or two isolated showers in some spots, especially across central and eastern Jamaica, especially in northern parishes. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we see that most of the clouds are starting to dissipate, some clouds still left over as we speak. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, if we're gonna see the latest images, seems like we're having a glitch right now showing that 5 p.m. between 4 and 5 p.m. time period. So we won't even look at that. It usually glitches. Hopefully the Jamaican radar gets fixed soon. Moving on to the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperatures should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is showing 18Z, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we see Jamaica embedded in some yellows and some orange colors that are representative of 1 to 2 and even 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. We're indeed grateful for that, considering that we're not getting in on those darker reds and blacks that indicate up to 8 or even 9 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. That's ridiculous. Ridiculously warm temperatures affecting sections of Central America, the eastern Gulf, southern Florida, and the northern portion of South America. Hopefully, we don't get in on that heat. Hopefully, it stays as it is or even gets cooler. Either way, we know the average temperatures for the month of March are about 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, that's about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So, considering the temperature forecast for Tuesday, with these oranges up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, it should be anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most. As it relates to the dry air map, we can see that the dry air is represented by the yellows, the oranges, and reds by the key at the bottom. And we see that there's a lot of dry air plaguing the entire Atlantic basin, all the way from Africa into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. The area right here across Jamaica, definitely a lot of dry air, yellows, oranges, definitely being affected by that. But we're indeed grateful that it's not the Saharan dust. This is the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and we see that majority of the Caribbean and Jamaica should be in the clear, as all the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be across the main development region, especially that area closer to Africa where we have those darker shades of browns. You know, the darker shades of browns represent the vigorous plume of Saharan dust that can trigger sinusitis or asthma conditions in some persons, not to mention bring those hazy skies. And we're indeed grateful that the Caribbean, including Jamaica, should be in the clear for that time. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, both the Euro and the GFS maps are showing that for majority of the eastern side of the island, we should be receiving those darker shades of blues that we can see by the key on the bottom right that indicate anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. It's the western side of the island that should be getting in on those lighter shades of blues that we know represent the 0 to 0.5 of a meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong coming in from the east, northeast, especially on the north coast, averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 knots. On the southern side, curving to the north across section of the island, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots. Either way, we see the air piling up across inland areas of central and western parishes, so we can't rule out maybe some clouds building across inland areas of the island and causing some isolated showers to sections of inland areas of Jamaica, and not to mention western Jamaica. Either way, whatever rainfall that's to come will definitely affect sections of the east, especially the northeast, first of all. And the precipitation forecast maps are in consensus with this. Although they are not showing the rainfall for the afternoon hours, even although I'm definitely sure it's going to be raining across maybe sections of Westmoreland and Hanover during the afternoon. The clear consensus in terms of the blues that represent rainfall, the signal is strongest for the morning hours. This is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. And we do see the signals are stronger, showing those blues that represent rainfall across sections of northern and eastern Jamaica. So we can rule out some isolated showers possibly affecting sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe sections of St. Thomas getting in on the mix. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS malls are in consensus like this, the chance of actually happening are much higher. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rain. We're in the month of March. We're still in our dry season. We usually receive up to 87.15 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the hydrological drought that we're currently experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of clouds associated with the cold front and the troughs that's induced across sections of the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, section of the US and British Virgin Islands, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and that southeasterly flow leading into the cold front, bringing those isolated shore activity across the eastern Caribbean. And if we take a look at the Puerto Rican radar, or the northeastern Caribbean radar, we can definitely see that they've definitely been getting in on some bad weather today, especially across Puerto Rico. Look at all of those greens. This is from 1:30 p.m. today. Look at all of that rainfall pushing from west to east across Puerto Rico. Even some yellows, oranges, and reds in there that represent some possible, possibly heavy rainfall. And zooming out, we saw that we indeed had that rainfall affecting sections of San Juan, even sections of the US and Virgin Islands picking up on some of that rainfall, sections of Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica getting in on the action. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we don't see much taking place, just some hit or miss isolated showers, especially to the east of Dominica and Martinique, to the east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well. If we take a look at a wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall dotting areas across Colombia. Don't see much happening elsewhere, just some leftover isolated afternoon to evening rainfall across southern portions of the Dominican Republic. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we see those blues that represent below normal temperatures for sections of the central United States, Texas, sections of Mexico. But look at all of those yellows, oranges, and reds, not to mention blacks within that, reaching all the way from Central America into portions of Florida, even western Cuba getting in on the mix with those way above normal temperatures. Way above normal temperatures also forecast to plague sections of northern South America. While we have anywhere from the yellows that represent 1 to the orange that represent up to maybe 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, reaching all the way from the eastern to the central Caribbean. As related to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear, and the Gulf of Mexico as well, as all the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be across the waters of the main development region, especially that area closer to Africa where we have those darker shades of browns that we know indicate the vigorous plume of dust that we don't want to see. The vigorous plume that usually causes sinusitis issues or asthmatic conditions being triggered in some people, not to mention those hazy skies. And we're indeed grateful that we're not getting that for 2 p.m. on Tuesday across the Caribbean. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see the majority of the Caribbean should be getting anywhere from 0.5 meter to 1 or maybe 1.5 meter wave heights, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And that's because the winds across the Caribbean won't be that strong at all. Across the eastern Caribbean should be coming in from the east or the southeast. Across the central Caribbean, not so strong at all. We see more blues than anything else. Across the western Caribbean now, coming in from the east, curving northward into the Gulf of Mexico into another cold front. Let's relate to the rainfall forecast now. We're seeing that majority of the western Caribbean should be in the clear in terms of the dry weather that has finally passed and pushed eastward. So majority of the rainfall should be affecting areas to the south. So sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia as usual, sections of western Venezuela, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. If they're not already getting rainfall right now, they're definitely going to be receiving rainfall within the next 24 hours up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Not saying that it's going to be raining all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be picking up that rainfall. So the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica might get on some of the action as well. And we see that both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus, and we know that when they're in consensus like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.